Russian rebels. This is Ukraine's new president-elect. Early results show he won yesterday's vote in a landslide. He's a billionaire who made a lot of his fortune from the chocolate industry. Hence the nickname, the Chocolate King. He says he supports strong ties with Europe and wants to meet with Russian officials within the next few weeks. They say they're ready to do the same, but the new leader says he will not negotiate with pro-Russian rebels.
They just murderer. They just a bandit. They just a killer. They just a terrorist. That's the case. And if you expected that I will find out the support of these people, no way, no chance.
Secretary of State John Kerry today congratulated Ukraine on its election, saying it shows that Ukrainian people want to live in a democracy and peaceful country. The president-elect says his first act will be to visit eastern Ukraine, where the deadly fighting has been raging now for months. And we saw a new attack today at an airport. Smoke rising from that airport in Donetsk after Ukraine's military launched an airstrike on gunmen who reportedly had stormed the area and refused to leave. Officials closed the airport, canceled flights, but say the rebels are not in control. Former State Department senior advisor Christian Whiten joins us now. He is the author of the book, Smart Power Between Diplomacy and War. Christian, always good to see you. First question for you has to do with this new elect president and what he said about these pro-Russian rebels. Is it that simple? Can he just say you're out of here?
Well, no, and in fact, the Ukrainian military has had mixed results. In fact, just poor results in actually kinetic operations against pro-Russian rebels, including today at the airport. It is unclear if rebels were able to regroup and still control the airport, or whether Ukrainian forces are now back in charge. However, it is probably wise to say he's not going to negotiate with them directly, because after all, they are the cat's paw. It is Moscow that's in control, and it's ultimately Vladimir Putin that will decide what degree of unrest is occurring in that part of Ukraine.
You know, Christian, over the last few months, we've reported a lot of referenda, other people going to the polls for different reasons. How is this different? Why is this different with this man?
Well, this is the first time the Ukrainian people have spoken since they deposed the pro-Russian, some might say, puppet that was in power beforehand. And also, it's a pretty big mandate. It wasn't just one candidate that Poroshenko was going up against. It was several, and he won an outright majority, around 55%, give or take. The final results aren't certified, but he won an outright majority. So it is a pretty clear voice that he will have in a mandate from the Ukrainian people. So they should give him a fair amount of slack and leeway in dealing with this crisis.
You know, I would imagine that wider Europe has been watching this and very nervous over the last few months. But for our part, for America, what does this mean?
Well, it means we have a willing partner if we're willing to sort of accept one in Ukraine. The problem is we haven't really come up with a coherent policy. We've made life difficult for a few friends of Putin, although not really, targeted sanctions that prevent them from visiting the United States, even though they never would have. But we haven't really developed a narrative, a clear political response, something that, like the Cold War, where we made clear that we stood for freedom and democracy, and so did our partners, in explaining that Putin stands for misery and oppression, and not just for people outside of Ukraine. Actually, within his own country, explaining that to Russians again, as we did during the Cold War. These are things that we ought to do that haven't done.
Yeah, it seems like that would be a simple narrative. I've wondered why that hasn't happened.
Well, part of it is this Obama administration's unwillingness to say that we are not morally equivalent to countries like Russia. To say that, for example, even Russian speakers outside of Russia, Russians outside of Russia, have it better under Ukraine's government. They have more rights than they do under Putin's. But, we've approached the world as if we're on a moral equivalence with the bad guys of the world. That's been reinforced, unfortunately, by Snowden. What we need is a president or presidential candidates to come and say, no, we're not perfect, but we do stand for freedom and democracy, and we're better than people like Putin.
Christian Whiten, thank you for joining us on this Memorial Day.
Thank you, Harris.